Hello, Java Challenger. I'm here with Rodrigo Graciano. Rodrigo Graciano has more than 20 years of experience, specifically with Java, and he lives in New York. He works for BNY. He's a director. He's also a Java champion, and he's also a member of the JCP. So, Rodrigo, I'm very happy to have you here. How are you?
Thank you very much, Rafa. Great pleasure to be here with you. Thanks for the opportunity, for the warm welcome. Again, very nice to be here with you.
Thank you so much, Rodrigo. And just to let you know, Java Challenger, we're going to be talking about his career trajectory. So you can apply his career lessons in your career, and then you can grow and you can get better. So, Rodrigo, can you start telling me a little bit about your career trajectory?
Yes, of course. A long time ago in Java, I started in 2003 probably, but before that, I was already working with coding. My first language was probably Visual Basic. And I knew since day one in college, when I had my first topic on algorithms, that I want to become a developer. It was first time I had it. I love it. I said, that's what I want to do. One day I said, I was out of college and I was still in college, probably one of my final years in college. And I said, okay, I want to be a developer, but only 2 or 3 topics that we had in college. That won't be enough. I bought a Visual Basic, the Bible book. For the ones that are old, they will remember it was like a 1,200 pages book, Visual Basic 6. I was on my vacation of college. So I said, I'm going to learn that. So I took the 1,200 pages. I studied it. I read all in on 1 week. The next week, I did all the exercise of the book and I applied to position. I got like a 97% on the test. I started working with development. So that was more than 20 years ago. So that's where I started. But a few years later, I was living in Porto Alegre, Brazil, South of Brazil. I want to work with Java. There was only one company working with Java at the time, Ecor. And I said, okay, so that's the place I need to work. I tried to do an interview. It didn't work. 6 months later, I try again. It didn't work. 6 months later, I try again. And then I pass. So never give up. Never give up. If you want something, focus on it. It was way harder to study at the time because we know that internet wasn't like a big thing. There wasn't so many study material available on internet. For those from Brazil, you know, books are extremely expensive. So it was really hard to get a decent book. A book would be around, I don't know, $200 probably a book in Brazil. It was really hard. So you had to rely on your network to find what to study on your phone. So that's when I started working with Java. I started working in a project for international company, a company headquarters in New York. That was my first job as a programmer. And after a few years, 10, 11 years, I had the opportunity to come work in New York. So this company, they have a branch in New York. I was transferred and I'm here since 2011. Yeah, 5 years ago, I joined BNY, initially as a senior engineer. And today I'm a director of engineer at BNY. I'm working in the compliance engineering, which is very cool that we build the tools to detect money laundering, try to find someone that's trying to evade sanctions. So everything on financial crime, we build the tools to avoid financial crime, to fight financial crime.
Awesome. There was some things that draw attention to me. So the first thing is that you tried many times to do the interview
Yeah.
and you didn't give up. So what made you try again and again and not feel frustrated? Or maybe you felt frustrated, but
Yeah.
what made you be motivated to try again?
Yeah. I think, first of all, recognize your feelings, right? Be frustrated. It's fine. And I think everyone will be frustrated if they are focused on doing something, they want to achieve something and they fail. That's part of the human nature. Acknowledge that, give yourself some time. I have a rule with me. It's like, it can be more than, I don't know, 5 minutes. I said, be frustrated for 5 minutes. That's fine. Understand what went well, where did you fail, and fix it. So I said before, my goal was to work with Java. There was one
Mhm.
company. So I have no other way. I said, I failed before. That's fine. I'll stand up, I'll learn, I'll improve, and I'll try again. And for many things in life, I think you should do the same. If something that you want, if something that you are focused, that you're dedicated, that you want, you can't give up. Like, it's not about failing, but it's how you react, how you stand up.
Yeah, that's a great lesson because that's what I did here in Dublin as well. So when I arrived here, even though I got referred to some job positions, I didn't pass in the first time. I failed in a coding algorithm test and I got frustrated. And then I had like kind of a stupid logic test. And I failed in this test, maybe because I didn't had the English language so sharp at that
Yeah.
time, and I wasn't used to those tests. And then I tried once, I failed. I tried the other time, I failed again. I tried
Yeah.
the third time, and I failed again, and I didn't pass in the in the interview. And then I noticed I learned that this company was actually a bad company to work for. I won't say the name, but actually it was kind of luck that I didn't pass in this for this company because I learned it was a toxic culture. But then I passed in a better company.
Good.
So, but yeah, like this lesson of being persistent is so important, and that's vital for career success.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
because I know that there's so many people see, oh, they're Java champions, they are super, like super developers. That's not true. Like we are just, we are persistent and
Yeah.
we focus on what we want, right?
Exactly.
Uh,
And you said something before. You're going to a different country. You're doing a job interview. It's a completely different experience. So you have the language barrier, you have a cultural barrier. Probably the way that they build the structure of their interview is completely different. So wasn't your problem, but shouldn't put anyone down. Everybody should understand that there are differences. It's okay to fail. Just keep looking at your targets, aim forward, and you get there.
yeah. And it's important to know how to process the frustration as well. Like something that helps me a lot is to have a walk. That's a great exercise. So instead of, eating junky food or whatever, better to do the simple things.
Yeah. I have a
So
Formula One game that I use for that. We had a
that's
steering
a
wheel. Yeah, I have a steering wheel and everything.
that's
That's
a
fun.
very good option as well. Like you just, start driving and then you just
Yeah,
forget about all the stress you've been through.
exactly.
So I got curious about something else you said. So you went from Visual Basic to Java. How
Yeah.
was your preparation for Java, like to become good with Java so that you would get your first job?
It was, I said, it was really hard. It was really hard. I said, there wasn't so much material available, right, to learn. And the ones that were available, they were very expensive. So you have to rely on the few material you would find on your network, on your friends, and that's it. You didn't have so many options back then. So it was hard. Luckily, the company had a lot of open positions, so they were not so they were beginners friendly. So that's definitely helped me. And after I joined, the company had a lot of material available to study, and there was a lot of professionals with more experience that were very accessible as well. So that helped me a lot because after I entered the company, I had to do an interview to the client, and that interview was in English because the client was in New York. So they gave me time to prepare for the interview. They gave me the material that I needed to study. They gave me access to the people already working on the project. So that was very nice experience. It was hard. It was very hard. I had to study like 12, 14 hours a day. I was studying like crazy because I want to succeed. but I had the support that I needed once I joined the company.
Mm. So they gave you all the material about Java, like it was the Java core and frameworks. What was at the time?
Should I say?
Yes.
It was struts, it was EJBs, Hibernate was already there, JSPs. It was pretty much that old thing that a lot of people work in the past. So, but we had a lot of books about it available. So my desk would have like 10 different books. I was like reading and discussing, then come back reading and went into some colleagues and asking questions, then coming back, trying to build something. So I have the material, I have the support to succeed. Again, it wasn't easy, but yeah, it helps when you have the support.
Excellent. I like what you said that you were learning and you were teaching or discussing those subjects with someone else. And that's the ultimate way to learn anything. That's
Yes.
what I say to my mentees many times, that sharing their knowledge makes all the difference.
It does, because you don't know. I'll say like Bruno would say, you don't know what you don't know until you teach. Right?
Exactly.
Because when you have to teach, you're gonna find the gaps on your understanding. So that's the best way to do it is by teaching and doing, right. So a lot of people, they say, oh, I study, I don't learn how to code. I said, what are you doing? I'm reading the book. That's good, you're reading the book, but unless you are trying to teach or you're trying to do it, you're not going to fix the information, not going to understand it in depth.
Exactly. Because reading the book is one thing, but when you implement the code and you see the errors, you see compilation errors, it's another whole thing.
Yes, yeah, what I tend to say is that coding is like math. You're not going to learn math by reading. It's not, right? Until you then you go a test and have everything, you're not going to succeed. So it's similar in that point.
Exactly. So your first job was for New York already.
Java, yes. So the company I was working, eCore, headquarters in Porto Alegre, they have a branch in White Plains. Their biggest customer at the time, the biggest client at the time was Bunge Alimentos, right?
Hmm.
Many people in the US, they don't know Bunge because Bunge in the US, they don't sell products like they do in Brazil. So in Brazil, people are familiar with it, but here, not so much. So this was a client of ours, and they wanted, so I was working for this, well, I started working for them. Once I passed the test, I worked with them, and in the years later, I had the opportunity to come here because they always want someone on site for the project. So a few years later, the person who was working on site, another job, went to another opportunity, and I had the chance to come to the US. So that was 2011 when I finally moved. So yes, first was New York, and even though I had the opportunity in my life to study English, right? When I was young, I had English at school. Once you have your first meeting, professional meeting in English, and then you have people with so many different accents, you say, wow, I didn't learn anything.
That's
Only the basics. So it's definitely interesting experience.
that's funny because I had the same pressure in the first day I arrived here in Dublin. I had to find a supermarket and they told me, hey, Tesco, if you don't know what's Tesco, Tesco is
Yeah.
a famous supermarket in Europe. So they said, oh, Tesco is over there. And then I needed to buy some food. And then I just went there. I couldn't find Tesco. I was without internet at the time. And I had to ask something. I had advanced English,
Yeah.
but my English wasn't fluent at all. Like it was still like I was struggling
Yeah.
to speak in English. And then I went to a shop. I asked an Irish lady and I asked, hey, where's Tesco? And then she answered like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, Irish is hard. It's hard. Irish, Scotland is hard to even today. It's hard.
It is hard, yeah, and I couldn't understand anything. It was kind of a shock to me because I noticed, oh my god, I know nothing.
Yeah,
Well, actually, I knew how to speak in English, but the accent was a shock because I couldn't
yeah.
understand a word.
It's interesting. It looks like it takes some time for your ear to be trained. Right? Then you, after some time, okay, you don't feel so tired anymore because you're not translating. Suddenly you understand what he's saying. It just starts to feel more natural. But yes, the first weeks are tough.
Yeah, it was really tough. And how was the decision to move to New York? Was difficult to
Uh,
decide that.
so it was interesting. My wife and I was already married at the time, and we have an European passport,
Yes.
but we
From which
were
country?
Italy.
Oh, the same as me.
Yeah.
Very good.
And my brother was already living in France, and we were thinking about moving abroad. We wasn't sure exactly where we wanted to go. We started learning French because we thought on going to Quebec in Canada. And because we had a lot of things that they have an immigration program, they were looking for software engineer. Our age was a good factor. So that was one of our main options. During this time, the company that company I was working at Ecor, they asked me to if I wanted to go to the US to work on the project, and that was supposed to be a 3 months project, right? So I came to the US, 3 months project. It could be extended to 6 months, and we would have a conversation after 45 days. So I was here for 45 days. They reached out to me and they said, "Oh, look, the client is enjoying what you're doing. They want you to stay for another 3 months. How that's going to work?" I said, "Okay, so we need to have a little conversation because my wife is pregnant and we need to, my goal right now is to be close to her. I don't care if it's in Brazil, if it's here, I want to be close to her." They said, "Do you want to stay?" They asked me if I want to stay. I said, "Well, if I have the opportunity, yes," because we were already thinking of moving abroad. We have a lot of friends from the same company that were transferred before. So I said, okay, instead of going to somewhere that you don't know anyone to try to start from zero, going to the US with a job and with a lot of friends that you already have, that's makes my life much easier. I said, yes, if we have the opportunity, I want to stay. So they spoke with the clients. They started working on the visa process. Everything worked fine. And 6 months later, I was transferred definitely to New York. And then we moved here. And we're here since 2011. Yeah, long time. 2011.
Wow. So you
Yeah.
feel at home already.
Yeah, yes. So 33 months project became what, 13 years, 14 years.
That's
Yes.
very interesting how
Yes.
things happen, right? Because
Yes.
sometimes in life we plan something, but then something else happens.
Yes, and it's interesting that you said that because a lot of people get frustrated with the plans because they have like 2 months that, 4 months that, and it's like linear, right? They said, I know linear. Life is not linear. You're gonna have ups and downs in your life, and even if your target's here, you're not gonna get here direct. Sometimes you're gonna get here, you're gonna get here, but the important thing is that you're getting close to your targets and be flexible to adjust your goals as well, because maybe 2 years from now, what you have planned doesn't make sense anymore to you. So you need to adapt your goals. But yes, it's interesting how things happen.
Yeah, you had an overall goal, which was to live abroad,
Yeah,
but you didn't know exactly what country yet,
yeah.
like me. So I knew I wanted to move abroad. I didn't know what country exactly. But then I found some friends who were coming to Ireland to do English courses.
Hmm.
And I had a coworker of mine in Brazil who got a job here as a Java developer. And I thought to myself, okay, that's possible. And then I decided to come here. Like it wasn't necessarily, I didn't have the dream, oh, I'm going to Ireland. It
Mhm.
was actually like my goal was to move abroad and get a job abroad.
Yeah, yeah. US wasn't our first option. We have the Canada is the first option because of this immigration process. We have Europe next. US wasn't an option yet, but once it shows up, it was job in a company that you already know with people that you already know. I had friends from years that were working in this company that was transferred, still working in this company. I said, look, instead of starting from zero, that's a great opportunity. You know, you go, you already have a support, right? A network, a support network. You already have a job. You already have friends. That's definitely makes your experience much easier when you move.
Yeah. Now I'm curious on the reason you said that that Canada was your first option.
Yeah.
So why is that?
Got That's wait. When we decided to move abroad, we start to look which countries would think would be interesting. Canada was one of them because of the quality of life, quality of education was definitely one of the top countries. While doing our research, we found about the immigration process to Canada, where they were desperately looking for software engineers. So there was like a ranking. There was some score, like they would rank you, giving something. So software engineer and medical areas would give you 100 points. Depending on your age, would get more points because they were also looking to bring more people to Canada. And we were like the top score on everything. So software engineer, age, no kids, married, everything they were looking for. Once we spoke to, we started to learn more about the process, spoke to them, they said, look, you can even start intervening already because you definitely going to pass the process because you're top scorer on the process. And we were investing, we were studying French, we were decided to do it. But again, life is not linear. We adjust. I think we would have a better opportunity in the US, at least a better experience when moving abroad. We would have a better experience since you don't need to look for a job. You're already familiar. So there's some people who can help you here. So that's what's our decision.
Awesome. But in New York, you also have like one of the best education in the world, right? Maybe it's even better than Canada.
Yes. No, education here it's great, but it's way more expensive than Canada. Way more expensive than Canada. Education here can easily pass like 56 grand a year in college.
Wow.
Easily. And in Canada can be free, maybe 10,000. So it can be way cheaper, right? So
Yeah,
that
but you
may
earn a lot less in Canada as well.
eh, we were talking before on salaries and other things. You make more money in US than you make in Europe, but it's a fake idea because everything else also costs more. Right?
Hmm.
You do have better education, but costs more. You do have maybe better salaries. Okay, but my rent costs more, my internet costs more. So it's a fake idea that you make a lot of money.
Interesting. Yeah, like obviously there is the life cost. So did you become an American citizen?
I did last month.
Congrats. That's amazing.
Yeah, last month. Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you. Last month.
Wow, that's quite accomplishment.
Yeah, yeah. You have
So
to
you and your whole family.
Yeah, both of my kids they were born here already, so they were
Nice.
American citizens already. Then my wife and I we did the test. We started the process mid last year, and we did the test. There's a process. There is a test that you need to do to become American citizen. Then we became early December. So yeah, 1 month.
Nice. And what about your kids? Do they like I imagine their English is like it's native, right? It's native English.
I will never speak like them. That's it.
Wow.
Never. It's totally different. They were born here. Their friends are here. So their whole life is here. They speak Portuguese as well. My older ones speak better, but it's native, right? The way they talk to each other is very different than the way I talk to my friend. They're never gonna be the same. Yeah. I
Wow.
acknowledge that. I don't try to fight that. I just acknowledge that. That's it.
That's amazing. Like how the kids learn so fast.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
And how did you get involved in the Java community? So I know that you are the Jug leader from New York. So tell me more about that.
Yes. So probably uh, one of the leaders of the New York Java user group. The Java user group, for or your audience, for those who doesn't know, it was the first Java user group ever created. So Java was created in May,
Ah,
and the New York Jug was created in September. So right after Java was
amazing.
created, first Java user group ever created. It's so old that it's not Jug, it's SIG, the special interest group, because there was not this concept of Jug yet. It was created by Frank Greco, who is still in the leadership team. He's still with us, and we're doing monthly meetings since it was created. Every month there is a free event. So
Wow.
I'm involved with that. I'm representative of the JCP executive committee for BNY. I try. It's for me the Jug was the most important thing in my career. If I have to choose one thing, was the most important thing in my career. I can give you many reasons why. You want to go there?
For sure. I'm totally interested in that.
All right. So here's what happened. When I moved to US, I was working in that company. Later, I went to work in another company, and I this company, it was before I got my green card. So this company, they were working with old Java technology. They are not interested on innovating or looking for something new. Period. We said, look, hey, there are new frameworks, we can do that. It would be easier for that, for this reason, for blah blah. They said, yeah, very nice. We don't care. Things are working. Our IT budget's not that large. So that's it. We want to maintain our system, so and that's good enough for us. And then I started thinking, all right, that's good enough for them, but I have a career, I have some plans, I want to improve, I want to grow, and it's not staying in the same place, in a place that does not believe in innovation. That's going to happen. So I have one chance that I need to go somewhere else. But because of my visa, I didn't have a green card yet. I couldn't move. I was stuck with that company. But the US has two visas when you come H and L. The L is an intercompany transfer, is easier to get, but you're linked to your company. You cannot leave. The H is it's like a more immigration, and then you are free to switch companies while your visa is valid. I came with the L, so I was stuck at the company. I couldn't move. So I said, look, okay, that's fine. I need to find a way to keep myself updated with things that are going on. So I start looking around. I was already on Twitter. I started looking around, trying to find things in New York. And one day I was following Marcus Azel. You know him, right? From Red Hat. He's still Red Hat, if I'm not mistaken. And he was already a Java champion, which, by the way, I had no idea what it means. I never heard about that before.
Mhm.
And he on his Twitter with his thousands and thousands of followers, and he said, look, if you don't know what to do with your career, you're looking for some advice, anything you want to talk about technology, ping me. I'll talk to you. I said, okay, that's weird. Probably he's going to try to sell me something. And I sent him a message, hey, want to talk? He said, yeah, sure. And we spoke for like 30 minutes. He never tried to sell me anything. He was genuinely interested in helping me, period. And he told me, look, I know someone from the Java user group from New York, Chandra. Why don't you go talk to him? See how the jug looks like, how the jug can be very good to your career. So we start attending the jug meetings. later, in another meeting, I spoke to Chandra and I said, look, I'm very interested in that. How can I be part of the jug? I want to get more involved with the jug. But it's New York. It's the jug that everyone wants to be part of. And that was like, yeah, we get that 100 times every day. Everybody wants to be part of the New York jug. But, persistence. Every meeting I would go there and said, hey, how can I help? Then he said, oh, sorry, we don't have anything right now. I said, how can I help? And everything's volunteer based. Right? It's not a paid position or anything. It's volunteer based. How can I help? Because I truly believe that being there in that environment would be beneficial for my career. And I would get there and help. One day, it was June. A lot of people were traveling. They didn't have enough people to cover for the meeting. And said, okay, look, we need someone just to check the IDs and see if they would register to the event. That's it. But before, it's no joke, because Chandra now is a good friend of mine. And I still talk to him about that. And he said, that's not true, but it's true. He made me call him for 30 minutes to understand why I wanted to be part of the jug. I had to convince him. He wanted to be sure that I wasn't trying to sell anything to the jug or get anything out of the jug, and that I could really contribute to everyone that was attending the Java user group. That was very nice. And it's still something that we abide by. So that's it. My first time at the jug was that. Checking, and then I started to the next meeting the same, the next meeting the same. 6 months later, they said, look, it's nice, you're helping us. You should be doing more. And I was thinking, should I be doing more? I'm already happy that I'm here, because being part of the jug, it gave me the opportunity to be close to, you get the books and the authors, they were there in the jug. The people that were giving talks at the conference, they were there in the jug. And I was, that's good enough for me. That I'm something that I never thought about it. I never thought it would happen. And I said, that's so good. And I'm learning so much, so many things. There's no price you can put on that. And then Frank came and said to me, look, why next year you don't become responsible for finding speakers to the jug? And I said, are you serious? He said, yes, honestly, I think that's the best position you can have in the jug, because that will give me access to everyone that's highly known and respected in the community. And he said, do it. And besides being the best job, it's the easiest job, because every speaker wants to be in New York. It's hard to find speakers for someone like deep inside the US or maybe some other countries, but New York, everybody wants to be New York. So that was very easy job, but the most rewarding job, because then I was talking to everyone that you know from conferences. I was talking to the authors, publishers. I was talking to Java champions. And then I learned what was a Java champion. And it was like fantastic. So one year or 2 years after the jug, they got me tickets to DevNexus, my first conference that I attended. For those who doesn't know, DevNexus is the largest, oldest conference, Java conference in the US. With like 3,000 people going to the conference. They got me tickets to that. And then I was like, wow, all those people that I was only seeing on YouTube, they're here. And then you're talking to them, you're learning from them. And you see that they are so nice. They're there trying to help you. They don't have this ego. They're there to help. They're very accessible. So from not knowing anything or know what to study to become part of the jug, having access to all those people, then be responsible to find the speakers. And next, Jean, which is one of the members, and she writes all the certification books. So if you're studying for Java certification, you're going to find one of Jean's book. She's part of the New York jug. She said, why are you not giving talks yet? I said, because I have nothing to say. I have nothing. And I know that very common. A lot of people said, I don't have anything to talk about. I said, everybody has something to talk about. Choose something. He said, no. I said, choose something. I said, okay. He said, why? He said, because you're going to present to a conference. I'm going to help you. And Jean is a good friend, but once she's working, she's not your friend anymore. She's very professional. She still reviews everyone's in the judge presentation before we do it. She's very professional. If you cry easily, you're going to cry a lot on the first feedback she's going to get to you. It can be harsh. My first time I gave the talk, I sent all the deck to her, and it was a talk in Brazil. I gave all the deck to her. She reviewed the deck. She gave me feedback. There was a scroll on the feedback. And no kidding, there was a scroll on the feedback. And I was like, I'm never going to give that talk. But again, you learn, you try again, you stand up, you improve. After 2 months preparing, she said, you were ready to give your talk. When she said you're ready to give a talk, I was so confident that it was a good talk that it went so well, went very well. It was at the TDC. My first talk was online to the TDC with like 10,000 people watching. First talk. But I was sure it was good because she had the review so many times that she was so good doing that. She's so good doing that. I was very confident on doing a good talk. So the judge gave me network, gave me learning, gave me opportunities to present at conferences. And again, the most important is the network, right? The network that you build, all the people that you know now, that I know now, that I have access. Sometimes you're struggling with a problem. Hey, I know the person who is working on this framework. I don't need to go maybe ask on Stack for something. I know the person who is exactly working on this framework. I know this person who is working on this framework. I know someone from Spring. I know someone from Hibernate. I know someone, whatever is their framework, Quarkus. I know somebody that works on that framework. So that's changed completely your experience. You have so access to knowledge that it's much greater than staying at home watching YouTube videos. I said, the jug was the most important thing in my career by far.
Wow, such an amazing story. You met so many Java champions. You met Chandra, you met Gene, you met amazing people.
Yeah.
Gene was a mentor for you and such a good mentor. Like from what you
Yeah.
told me, like she's very like she gave you the right feedback, even though
Yes.
she's tough. Like that made you grow
Yes,
quickly.
definitely. She's great. She can help you prepare like no one. She should make this a business because it's unbelievable. And she spent a lot of time doing that. And my first presentation was in Portuguese. And she doesn't know Portuguese. She said, I don't care. Give me your deck, give me your code. I know what to do. And
Wow.
and it was so I was in the jug. Jean, a Java champion, Frank, a Java champion, and the founder of the jug, Chandra, a Java champion. All of them were talking at conferences for a long time, writing books. Barry, today is a Java champion, writing books, a professor for a long year. So look, I was surrounded by smart people. I love that. I love that. I said, look, I have so much to learn from them. And look, I can learn from them forever because they're such smart people and always looking to improve. Very nice people. So I said the jug was the most important thing that happened in my career. And because the people of the jug, they're so special that contributed to that.
Yeah, that's such an important lesson. Like to hang out with people, with developers who are better than you.
Yeah.
That's such an amazing lesson. You learn so much.
That's
You
true.
learn so much.
Yeah.
And like I also got involved at DubJug, So Java, and I met so many amazing people and it helped me so much. And it's great the opportunity to give a talk, contribute. I did something similar at DubJug as well. I was finding speakers And it's great. Like you said, you meet so many Java champions, so many references in the Java community. So, and we learn a lot. We learn a lot.
Yeah. So the judge was pretty much saying, oh, from before, like reading the books, looking at watching YouTube videos, to them have access to all the people who are writing the books, who are creating the YouTube videos, who are talking at the best conferences. So that's the real value of networking. That's the real
It's
value.
mind blowing. It's mind blowing. It's insane.
No, just conclude. I said before that people in the community. They are so accessible. There was one time I had a problem with a framework that I was trying to, and sorry, didn't have a problem. I want to build a talk on Spring Batch, okay, which is with a framework to do batch processing. I look online, I don't see almost no presentation. There was like one or two presentations from Minella, who wrote the framework, and Mahmoud Ben Hassin, who is now the tech lead. Only that. I couldn't find any more talks about it. It was really hard to find talks online. Once I built the material, I said, okay, I think it's good, but I need to get some feedback. How can I get a feedback about this? I spoke to Josh Long at DevNexus, and Josh, I need someone from Spring Batch I have a presentation that I'm going to give. I need to get some feedback. He said, that's fine. I love the idea. I'm going to put you in contact with Mahmoud Ben Hassin. He's the tech lead of the Spring Batch team. I said, what? Really? He said, yeah, sure. So, and now the most important thing is, Mahmoud lives in France. I'm building my presentation. Josh puts us in contact. He said, hey, send me your deck, send me your code examples. I'm going to review, and we'll talk on Friday. That was like a Tuesday. And he sent like a meeting invite for 1 hour to talk. I said, that's so crazy that people help each other like this in this community. So I sent the deck, everything. When it was Friday, we spoke. He had to review everything. He said, presentation is good. On the new version, you can do this easily. So change that, small things on the language, small corrections. He said, but the presentation is good. We spoke for 1 hour on the phone. And I said, when would I have access to his knowledge before the jug or before deciding to grow my network, right? Before making that intentional? Never. And the fact that Mahmoud is in France and he's the tech lead of the project. And then he said, I'll help you. I'll give my time to you free. It's amazing on this community. Last time I went, my brother lives in France. Last time I went to France, I met Mahmoud. And we sat, we talked together, we talk a little bit. I'm gonna see him again at DevNexus in March. But see, you start building this network and of amazing people and that support each other, which is beyond incredible.
And that's happened so much in the Java community. And that's what I tell my mentees, to go to JavaSIG groups. If there isn't a JavaSIG group in your place, create one, and start hosting talks, give your talk, because that makes all the difference.
Yes, yeah, it does. It does.
Very good.
Yeah.
So you are a principal software engineer for BNY. So how was the experience? Can you tell me how was the experience about having this position?
Yes, definitely. So my role as a principal software engineer was it's not only coding. Some people, they have this idea that's only coding. I say that the most important thing of a principal software engineer is to make the code easier to understand, right? Because I have the capacity to write a code that will perform at the best, but maybe people won't fully understand what's going on. So if I have junior people in my team, they'll look at the code and say, hey, I don't want to touch that. That's too complex. I'm building two problems doing that. If I'm a principal, I become the owner of the code. Nobody else is going to learn, and the junior developer is not going to grow. Right? So I'm creating two problems. So I say that the most important thing that a principal software engineer can do is to make the code easier and accessible to other developers. So that was part of my responsibility, and think across my teams and say, hey, maybe we're building similar things. Maybe we shouldn't be doing that, right? Maybe that should be a common solution instead of each one having their own implementation. So I have to look, instead of just working on your team, you start to looking more across the organization and try to understand which process can be improved, which solutions can be reusable, and how to make the code more accessible to junior developers to help them develop their career and also learn and have pleasure on working there. So that was my goal. Right now, I'm a director of engineering, which is a little bit less coding, but still I need to look across the organization. I need to understand what's working well, what's not working. My team has around 300 people, and my role is to ensure that they are performing at their best. So it has a lot of developer productivity DevX as well. So to understand they're spending too much time on this, maybe there's something wrong with that. Their tests are taking too long. Their build is taking too long. So understand what's going on, how can we improve it so the developers can have a better experience, because I'm a developer, and I think every developer, what they want to do is to code. They're happy that they are coding and they are not being interrupted by some other process. Oh, damn it, I need to test something, but now my build is going to take 30 minutes. That does not contribute to a good experience. I want to be able to put my headphones, put my head down, work, and have a smooth experience. So that's part of my role today, is understand their needs and ensure that they have a good experience, because better experience means more productivity.
Amazing. And how do you do that? It's more strategic. Like your position is more strategic.
Yes, it's you have to two things I did. That was my first two things that I did. One was to develop a survey and try to understand separate from one I did with everyone, and I have a talk with every tech lead on my team and try to say, hey, what's working, what's not working, where you're spending time, where you're happy, where you're frustrated, right? That was my conversation with the tech leads. I did also a survey with all the developers in the team, and very simple. How do you rate your development process? How do you rate the processes? What can be improved? Very simple. From those results, I start building solutions to each one of the problems. Right? And then you start you start measuring, right? Because if you don't measure, you're just taking guesses. So people say, oh, my build takes too much. I said, well, and then you interview someone from the same team who said, no, my build is fast. Okay, so what is it? Is it fast? Is that slow? Are you doing the same thing? Are you doing the same builds? Are you following the same processes? What is different here? Then you need to start analyzing the data and understand what can be improved. Because maybe what is fast, so you maybe have different opinions. Oh, it's 1 minute, okay. It's 30 seconds, okay. It's 5 minutes acceptable. So it depends. So you start building and looking at numbers. You said, oh, maybe we shouldn't be doing every time we do a build. We don't need to do all those things. Maybe, maybe you don't need to scan your code completely every time you do a commit. And some people were doing that. Maybe it's on the time that you're gonna merge your code, you do your PR, you should be doing this. So different things. And then we look not only at DevOps, but we look, hey, how effectively using your Java code? Are you using new language features? And also teaching them about the new things. Oh, look, hey, new version of Java, we can do that. And then, oh, we need to migrate. People say, oh, it's going to be hard to migrate. Hey, look, there are tools that help you do the migration. Instead of taking one month to do that, we can do in 10 minutes. look, let me show you how to do it. Right. So when I see there's a chance to improve our processes and make us gain time, like will not be wasting time, because I want us to be spending our time on building useful things. So that's when my role starts. And I say, hey, look, if every one of you are saying me that you're going to take 1 month to do the migration, that's my responsibility to ensure that's not the case, that I help you to improve that and show you that there are better ways to do that.
Amazing. Can you share what's the tech stack?
Yeah, so most of our tech stack, it's Java Python. It's almost 50-50, I would say. So Java is pretty much everything you see around. Java, Spring, Hibernate. That's pretty much. As many companies will only work with LTS versions of Java. So anyone, 11 is not available anymore. So 17 and 21.
Oh, so you currently are using Java 17 and Java 21.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I really like the way you contribute as a director. I never seen a director acting like that in previous companies I worked for. And I really like these positions. Like it's kind of a mix of an architect slash director because you have the kind of the strategic view of the software development cycle.
Yeah.
So you focus on, I assume that you help them create standards for the code. You help them to create a more robust pipeline. You help them to migrate a version. And the build, this is a huge problem. Usually in big companies, it takes a long time to test your changes. And that's a big issue. So how did you solve that?
I think first thing first, define your priorities. Because I made this mistake before in my career, trying to solve many problems at once. If you have too many problems to solve, you don't solve anything. Right? Define priorities. So I look at our team and I said, okay, what's impacting us the most and what could we improve? I think this is the most important thing for us right now. So that's what we're going to work on. So we get together tech leads or and say, hey, look, we have this problem. How are we gonna solve it? I think there's a few options. We can do this. Another team did that. Some other area did that. We have different ways to solve that. That's gonna bring us much better results. Discuss, present to the team. Sometimes I'm gonna say, hey, let's do this way, right? But I think it's better to bring everyone that's gonna be impacted so they also understand the pros and cons. It's not only me doing that, but the whole team understand what are the advantages and the disadvantages of each solution that we have. So again, it's not as simple. It takes time. So if I say, oh, I wanted us to be way far ahead in the curve, yeah, but understand that everything takes time. And if you're trying to make too many things, you're just going to make everyone frustrated and you're not going to get the result that you want. Example, with one team I was working with test coverage and we improved like 60% in the last year, our test coverage.
Amazing.
So I said, wow, that's nice. Why we want to do that? Because I think if we have good tests, we can improve our DevOps, we can develop code, we can ship fast, right? And that's going to give me more security. I will feel safer if I have this behind my code that will give me the opportunity to move fast and ship fast. So again, it's small, a lot of things that you break in pieces, prioritize them, and go one by one. Understand that there is a process, it takes time. Maybe say, hey, if I was working on the project, I could solve in a different way, maybe a faster way. But if I'm doing that, I'm not giving the team the opportunity to learn, to do, and to grow. Right. And I need to ensure that they're having a good experience and that they are learning, right? And they like what they do. It's not about me doing things. It's about let them be challenged, let them make mistakes, and support the development. There are some times that I still need to code. Sometimes my manager come and say to me, look, we have this problem. We tried to solve. We couldn't do it. Solve it. So it's still fun. It's still fun.
Then it's the fun time.
That's the fun time.
So I'm curious. So how do developers run their microservices? Do they run via Docker or something else?
There are different ways we can do that. It depends on your use case. Docker is one option, but we use a wrapper around that. It's not exactly that. You can deploy. Some people there's using still a monolith. You can do that. You can deploy on your own VM. Some people still deploy on their bare metal. There's a lot of things that depends on the project and also on the data that's there, because there's a lot of security implications for financial services, that a lot of regulation that we need to comply with. Sometimes you need to keep the data inside your network. You cannot rely on public networks. So everything depends how project by project. Again, it's a big company, 50,000 employees. I have no idea how many projects, how many services are there, but I'm sure it's hundreds of thousands of services there running.
So how many microservices are you managing exactly, or approximately?
My team has 24 projects. Some are vendor products, some are building house. I would say more than 100 for sure. Yeah. More than 100
Nice.
for sure. Yeah.
That's amazing. I imagine it's not easy to handle like 100 microservices.
No, but at the end of the day, it's not entirely my responsibility to manage them, because my manager has all these applications. Each one of these applications has a tech lead, and I'm somewhere between my manager and all the tech leads. So to be successful in what I do, they need to be successful, right? If they are having a good result, I get a good result. So I need to ensure that they are following the best practices, they are following the right processes, they have the right tools to do their job. Right? At the end of the day, it's their responsibility to monitor, to deploy and everything, but I need to ensure that's being done correctly, and that's the best way possible.
If you can share, like not in details,
Mhm.
how is roughly your day-to-day job as a director? If you can share that, obviously.
It depends on, when I'm coding, it's probably I have more fun, but it's also when I sleep less. Because when I need to code, it means that the team tried to do it didn't work, and it's something critical to our business. But it's when I have more fun as well. So it depends. So most of my day I spend connect with my team, with the tech leads, and also our DevX group, trying to understand our data, trying to understand our processes, and seeing what I can help. When we're doing the migration to Java 17, I spend some time searching for tools and showing them and building like a framework example and say, hey, this is how we're going to do it. Then I look for one of the applications to do a POC. So I work with the tech lead and say, hey, I'm trying to do X. Who volunteers? And then someone says, hey, I would like to participate. And then I go work with them and say, okay, let me get your application. I'm going to migrate this to Java 21. One module. I'm going to show you how I did. You're going to do the next one. And we're going to document that and make it available to everyone else. Or we make part of that. I have created within my group a speaker series. So every month, someone from the group give a presentation to the rest of the group. Right? So that's a way of also sharing knowledge. So when I did this, not exactly this one, but there was another thing. We were automating our database deployments using Lickbase. One team used that. I built that. I built with a POC. I showed the team how to do it. The team learned, improved it, and they did demo to everyone else, all the other groups, how they did. Right? So then the knowledge is not on me anymore. We're sharing across the team and say, oh, there was a problem. We solved the problem. Okay, let's move next. So it's a lot of the time is building POCs, working with the tech leads, working with the developers, understanding what can be improved. And there's always something to improve. There's always something new. That's pretty much how it goes.
Amazing. I really like the mindset you have, that you think so much about the developers to create a growth environment. And that's so important, because that is, for example, for me, this is one of the most important points to any company.
Yeah.
Growth is crucial.
Yes.
And like I know developers leave a company if they don't feel they are growing, or if they feel the technologies are obsolete, if they feel that nobody cares about modernizing technologies. So you're doing an excellent job on that,
Yeah.
because I know not so many developers think like you.
Yeah. I'll say that probably I didn't think like that before. That takes maturity as well to understand. And once I started to expand my role and my responsibilities, you need to start thinking differently. Because again, I think if the success of my career depending on the success of each team, if I'm not helping them, right, that's I'm just gonna scoring a own goal. I'm not helping myself either. I understand that I need to help them to grow. I need to build an environment where they feel challenged and they feel excited about what they're doing, because that's how they learn. Look, and again, if I don't help them grow, if I don't help them succeed, if I don't help them to, if I don't challenge them, or they will leave, or they will never grow. So then it's a problem to me. Then I need to find replacements and I need to start all over again. And another thing, if I'm not making better developers, better engineers, better architects, I don't have room to grow as well. Right? So people need to understand that if you don't have anyone who can do your job, sorry, you'll be doing that forever. You're not growing. You're not taking the next step in your career. So it's you help them, you're helping yourself, and many people don't see that. I really enjoy helping others to grow. I put a lot of time doing that. I make myself available to my team. I do things outside of work to help them. My involvement with the jugs. I go on Twitter. I have a lot of satisfaction on helping people. I have one person from Portugal. He was living in Africa before. He wanted to work as a developer. I helped him to prepare to an interview. He moved to Portugal. He was giving talks at J Nation last year.
Wow,
And
congratulations. That's amazing.
and that's so rewarding, because I say, look, it's all his effort, but my contribution helped him some way, and probably are changing his life and his family life for generations to come. So you need to know, and I think that's more rewarding than I'm doing myself, going to a conference and presenting to a conference. I have more satisfaction doing that than myself present to a conference. So I think I'm very happy that I'm in a role that allows me to work helping people build their careers.
Amazing. That's so important. So important. Unfortunately, I think most managers or most directors, they don't care much. So you are definitely a reference. You are definitely a reference.
I hope there are more good managers than bad managers. Leaders, like we need more leaders, not managers. Right? I need more leaders.
Leaders, exactly. Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah,
Totally agree.
I'm lucky right now. The project I work, I have a fantastic leader. He knows what to ask. He wants results, but he backs you He gives you the space to do by yourself. He gives you the space to make mistakes, the space to try and error, because that's important as well, to make mistakes. It's important. But if there is a problem, he's gonna be there, right? He's gonna be there. He's gonna back you up. Hey, you are from my team. I got you. But I need things done. So I think I'm just reflecting what he does, and I'm happy that I can do the same and help others.
Amazing. So changing a little bit the subject, can you share how is the market for Java developers, especially in New York?
I think now I've seen more positions again. I know that during COVID, it was like unbelievable. The number of job roles open was astonishing. It was like, hey, X company is hiring 10,000 people. I said, what do you mean 10,000 people? How do you hire 10,000 people? And like, yeah, we hired 10,000 people. That's, oh, another one is hiring 5,000 people. And then, yeah, but this was like a lot. Then I think last year, things on the IT markets, they were strange. I think for the first time in years, right? A lot of jobs being closed. So that was really a strange time. I think now the past, let's say, 4 months, I think things are going back to normal. It's not that crazy hiring spree, but I'm seeing more recruiters reaching out and say, hey, I have opportunities. So I'm seeing things going back to normal. I think there are way more job openings than Java developers in New York.
Wow, amazing. The market got really bad here in Dublin because of COVID. We we had definitely a crisis. And I remember that developers with many years of experience, they've been trying to get a job for something around 6 months.
Yeah.
Was really hard.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how is the market right now, but it was something like that. It was like something around 4 months or 6 months to find another job.
Yeah. Yes. It was the same here, which is, again, it's very different from what we're used to see. I found a lot of things. I think companies hired too much during COVID. I think their AI impact on all of that as well. But I think mostly I don't think AI is the one to blame. I think companies hire so much during COVID, and that's eventually they said they just stop and say, okay, I think we went too far. It's time to rebalance. I think that's what happened. I think things are going back to normal now.
Do you think the companies hired a lot during COVID?
Yes, here, yes. Initial years of COVID was a lot.
And why is that? Why do you think that happened?
I don't know if maybe their cost was reduced because they don't need to have an office opening. There was a lot of company that they just returned their buildings and say, oh, I don't need a building anymore, right? So I can save a lot of money. I'm gonna invest in my business. Maybe that's one of the things. I honestly don't know, but we were seeing the beginning of COVID, like, huge numbers. It was like, hey, big company A, 10,000 jobs, big company B, 10,000 jobs. And it was like, wow. And like every other month was something like that. I think as well, a lot of people that were hired, they didn't have enough maturity. They were not in the right skill as well. And eventually the market rebalances and ups and downs and
Yeah.
what needs to be done. And many companies, they decided not to fire anyone during COVID as well here in the US. They have this, it's a tough market for everyone. So we're not going to fire anyone, right? Because it's common for companies to get the end of the year and say, hey, okay, let's get our people that didn't perform well, right? Let's fire them. Let's hire new people. And that's common. But during COVID, a lot of companies, they didn't do that. They said, no, we're not hiring anyone. We know that markets can be tough. We're not firing anyone. So after COVID passed, I think the company said, okay, now we need to remove the test from the past years, and I think that's what caused that huge the emissions. I think that was, or it had something to do with that, at least.
It makes sense. Like if they hold back, like letting people go,
Yeah.
like they would have to do that
Yeah, because
like
it's common here.
sometime.
Yeah, here in the US, it's common like around something that depends 2 to 7% the emissions at the end of the year, and then hire new people, right? That's common. Will take your bottom performance and you renew that. That's common. So if you don't do that for 2 years, 3 years, right? When things are back to normal, then you have a lot of that need to get burned.
Makes sense. So talking about the life cost in New York, I think it's one of the most expensive cities in the world, if not the most expensive.
Yeah.
So how is the life cost there? Is it like, maybe we can give like an example of one apartment, one room in a median, like in a good enough location, not in the top location, food, those basic things. Like what's the average life cost for a single person, we could
It's
say for now?
it's expensive. Interesting. There are some articles that come out of newspaper. They say that the minimum that you need to live in New York is like 120,000 a year.
Really? 120K? That's the minimum?
You need to live in New York.
Wow.
New York is expensive. I know that a lot of people make less than that in New York. I'm confident that, and a lot of people make more than that, but it's not the reality. That's the minimum you need. And I don't think that's true. But we're talking before, New York salaries, New US salaries, they are larger, but it just tells half of the story, because you're making more money, but everything you do, it will be more expensive in New York. Companies want to be in New York because strategically it's important to be in New York. So that's part of the process. I would say that everything in Europe costs 2 or 3 times more in New York. That's how it goes. I would say,
Wow.
because I have my brother lives in France. Rental, let's say rental, right? Food is not that much, although food increased a lot in the past 2-3 years. Food increased like 20% a year easily. But if we're saying rents in New York, 1-bedroom apartment, it's not going to be less than 3,000. It's not, right? In a good location, it's not going to be less than 3,000. And like a really small apartment in New York. Car prices are similar to Europe, I think. Food in Europe is still cheaper than here.
Can you say it, because maybe who is watching us, they don't know how much is a car in Europe. So
Okay, yeah. So let's say the simplest car in Ireland, how much would be a new car?
5K. Wow, a new car,
Yes.
depending on the quality of the car, like a Honda Fit, I would say, would be something around 10K or 15K.
Yeah. So probably here you can buy the cheapest car, maybe a Golf or a Corolla, but maybe around now not anymore. So maybe 22, 25K, right? So it's still double what zero. But again, cars in US, I think they have one rule: needs to be big. There is a rule. They don't like small cars here. It's unbelievable. When you go to Europe, you have that, wow, the cars are here, are toy cars, right? Because then you get like a F-150 in the US, big car. They really like big cars, and you don't see small cars being sold. It's really rare to see small cars being sold here. Let's say like, so maybe twice the price compared to Europe.
Maybe not, because I'm talking about a used car. It's not a new car. Like a Honda Fit, a new Honda Fit would be. I don't even know if this car exists anymore. I don't think so. Anyway, I think it would be 22K around.
Yeah,
I think it's
maybe
almost the
similar.
same.
So maybe
Almost the same.
similar. Let's say McDonald's would be like $10 a meal. A bottle of wine, $10. So that can be way cheaper in Europe.
in Italy, because in Ireland it's not that cheap.
No.
Like you can buy a reasonable quality wine here for €7,
Okay. Yeah. Still better. Who will be 15? Right.
15.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay.
So let's say it's. I'll say this maybe twice the cost, and things that are really expensive here. Services are expensive here. If
At the
you
same here.
need, yeah, if you need someone, I don't know, electricist, you need someone to clean your house, you need a gardener, whatever. That's very expensive. So you try to learn to do everything by yourself. Most you can
Yeah.
do. What else? Internet services. I think there are cheaper phone services. Internet services are cheaper in Europe. I think here maybe it's going to be like $60 a month. Your phone bill will be $100.
Oh, a lot more
So
expensive.
yes,
Interesting. That's a lot cheaper here. Like I pay €15 and I have unlimited internet. I have,
yeah,
I think, 60 minutes a month to make calls in case I have to call whatever. Like we don't use calls very much nowadays, but
yeah.
we might need for special services or those things. So it's very cheap.
What's your internet speed? That's also higher in Europe.
For 5G,
Yeah. No, your home internet.
on my
Yeah.
home internet, like unfortunately, there isn't a very fast internet in my location for some reason. But like for 50 megas or 100, I think it's 100. I don't remember
Okay.
exactly. No, it's a 100 megas. It's something around €30 a month.
Okay. Okay. Maybe because also they don't have many options. My brother's in France. I remember he had like 1 gigabyte for $20. It was
Wow.
like, wow. It was like, wow. Here is 300 megabits and it's 50, $60 a month. But the cellular bill, the phone, it's more expensive. Let's say it's expensive. So you have the fake idea that people make a lot of money in the US. Well, maybe they do, but the the how much is left at the end of the month, it's that tells you the whole story. That's going to be the same as in Europe, or probably less.
Interesting. And that's an interesting point because, like I say, many people have the illusion that, oh, only the salary will be the money that you get at the end after all the costs. And that's not exactly
Yeah,
what happens.
no.
So, like, if you go to the supermarket, only one person, how much would you spend a month approximately? Here in Europe, I spend something around €400 a month, more or less,
For one person,
one person.
I think would be somewhere around that.
$400.
Yeah. Is that a month? Is that a month?
A month.
Yeah. I think it'll be around that. I think it'll be around that.
That's
But
very good then.
the groceries increase a lot during COVID, and a lot. I think we spend at least twice of we used to spend before COVID. At least twice. And they say, hey, inflation is 2% a year. Interesting, because that's not where is your money. I know that groceries, at least they it's double than what they used to be, at least.
Yeah, it's a lot more expensive here in Ireland as well. I think it's almost a double.
Yeah.
It reached to almost a double as well.
Yeah.
Very good. Other question I get a lot from my mentees is how to get up to date with technologies. How do you do?
Find a Java user group.
That's great. Yeah, that works.
Very good. I have a couple of things that I do. I think you can use your social media professionally, and that can have a lot of benefits. I use Twitter X a lot for that. LinkedIn, you can use a lot for that, right? And you need to understand that you can make better use of your social connections, right? Your social networks, because you can approach people there. You can, hey, there's someone like you are applying for a job, and some people they say, okay, I'm applying for a job. I'm gonna look at the company website, and that's it. Oh, you can do so much more than that. Oh, I want to apply to a company. I know that you work at the company. I don't know you yet. I'm gonna look at LinkedIn and say, hey, Rafa works there. I said, hey, I'm gonna send you a message. Hey, Rafa, how are you doing? Look, I'm applying for a position as a software engineer at company Y. You've been working there for 5 years. Can you tell me a little bit how is that? Do you like it? Do you not like? You can build technology. Even maybe Rafa cannot tell me everything about the company. He can give me some hints about the company, about the interview process, and I can make a connection. Look, when I need someone that already knows Java, look, wait, I know that Rafa is working with Java for quite some time. Maybe he can help me. So you can use your social network for that. So I use a lot of this LinkedIn and X, totally professional. I don't do anything outside of, I don't use for personal purpose at all. So I do it to look, so I look for content. I follow those people that I'm interested. I find content that are going to benefit me. So I think that's pretty much, I have some channels, some websites that I look at. Like Spring has always something new, something interesting to do. IntelliJ, they have live podcasts. They do a lot of things. So that's what I try to do. I look for social media, follow the right persons, try to make connections. Uh, the products that you like, you can subscribe to the products you like. Right? You can follow them on social media. If you are a developer, you like Spring, go to the Spring repository, right? Get there, see how you can contribute to Spring. They have a lot of things. So that's also contributing to open source or your favorite framework can be a very good way to build up your career. Many projects they have super friendly beginner tasks that will say, hey, your message here is wrong, right? But that small change, small contribution can give you access to someone new that can be very important in your career, can help you understand how a CI/CD works, how best practices are being used. So that's kind of different things that you can do that I do or I did in the past that to help my career.
Yeah, so that's a crucial lesson is to get involved in the Java community.
Yeah.
Very
And
good.
conferences, go to conferences. Don't like for, I don't know if you're from Brazil as well. So every country has conferences, or maybe some, not every country, but there are so many conferences around. I know that sometimes they're not cheap. Many they have some discounts for students, but conferences, people are gonna say, hey, but hey, I can watch the same talk online 10 times. Yes, you can. It's not the same thing. You're not going to have the opportunity to go talk to the speakers, to ask the questions that are interested, to know other people that are trying to solve the same problem. So that's the benefit of a conference. Is not the talk itself, is the network that you build, right? The people that you know, the relationship that you build. That's the important thing.
Yeah, and I know also it's difficult for developers to reach out to speakers because, you know, most of us, we are introverts. And
Yeah.
what's your approach to reach out to a speaker, to talk to them? We know they are so nice, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
everyone in the Java community, they're so approachable, so nice, but there's always this fear of reaching out and talking to them.
Yeah, that's true. You know, I my my approach for life is the no I already have, right?
Yeah.
What else? Uh, So, so if I don't ask a question, nothing's gonna change, right? I'll be in the same way, same place that I am today. If I ask a question, well, I can be in the same place, but maybe I can learn something from that, right? Maybe say yes. Well, that should be your approach for life. Try, right? Because if you're not taking action, somebody is, or somebody's making decisions for you, right? Right? If you're staying in the same place, say, oh, I don't know if I want to do that or that. Somebody will decide for you, or you're not moving at all. So take action, right? The no is free, right? It's more than that, but the no is free. I try, I see something that I think is interesting. I look at the speaker, I look at the author, and it's, hey, gonna send him a message. I don't care. If he doesn't reply, he doesn't reply. Maybe there is another person that look, I can find the author and then say, oh, the author didn't reply. Okay, but maybe I can search someone that is also a good name in this area that knows about this, and let me do some research. And then say, look, hey, I'm trying to solve this problem. I'm not asking you to solve this problem. Can you just guide me in the right direction? Do you have any material that I can look at? Whatever. Right? Try to approach. People don't answer, they don't answer. Sometimes people are too busy. It's not because they don't want, sometimes they're just too busy. But try. If you're not trying, in 1 year you're gonna be in the same place. Sorry.
That's a great lesson. Basically, if you feel the fear, go with the fear.
Exactly. And I love those motivational videos, right? And I was watching, and I think it was, they asked Kobe Bryant one time, hey, you played, I don't know how many games, and now you're how many finals. What do you do to not feel afraid, right? To be calm. He said, who said I'm not afraid? Who said I'm calm? I'm nervous. I'm shaking. But I know that this is the time that I need to deliver. I'm shaking. I'm go, and I like the pressure. So I do it. Right? It's not, that fear will not go away. Look, I don't know how many talks at conferences I give. Every time I do it, I'm so nervous every single time. And first 5 minutes, I can hear my heartbeats during the talk. I can hear. No kidding. I hear my heartbeats. I can feel them. I can hear them. Said, all right, there's a reason I'm doing this. There's a reason why I decided to do that. It's not hard. It's not easy. It's hard for me to do it. But I think that's important for me to do it. And I'll do it. Right? Do it. Face your fears. Go afraid, do it anyway.
Wear the diapers and go anyway.
That's it, man. That's pretty much do it.
So you also mentioned something interesting. You mentioned that if you don't do it, someone will decide things for you. Tell me more about that.
Look, if every time you don't know what you want, right? Somebody will make the decision for you. If you're not deciding, someone is going to make a decision for you. Look, I'm here. You have your career. You don't know if you want to be a manager or a developer in your career path. Okay? You don't know. If you don't know that, you don't explain that to what you want to your manager. What's going to happen? He will decide your career. He will define what you're going to do next. If you like to work with, I don't know, concurrency, but you don't express that to anyone else, your manager is going to have maybe a job that nobody wants to do. He's going to give to you because you weren't vocal. You're not expressing what you want. At the moment, we're not making decisions. We're not expressing what we want. Somebody will do for you. Somebody's going to take decisions for you. And then what happens? You're not in charge of your life anymore, right? You're just a passenger. So you need to know what you want in your life. You need to not only know, but you need to make it clear the persons who can impact your life. If I'm not telling my manager what I want to do next, he's going to assume what I want to do next. And that's what's going to happen. Because as I said, there are many managers that are bad managers. They're going to do what works best for them, and period. So if you have a bad manager who's not going to ask the right question to you, well, I'm sorry, he's going to be making decisions that maybe is not in the best interest of your career.
That's such a harsh truth,
Yeah.
but it's reality. That's such an important lesson. Such an important lesson, because I used to make this mistake. Like when I was an intermediate developer, I was afraid of talking to my manager to become a senior. And like it happened exactly what you said. I wasn't deciding what was going to happen in my career. And as a consequence, I stayed an intermediate developer for years.
Yeah. Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
wasn't being vocal
Yes.
on what I wanted.
That's it. On today is Friday. We're recording this on Friday. On Monday, I have my year-end conversation with my manager, right? Where we talk about raises, we talk about how it goes, right? Bonus, what went well, what went wrong. You give your performance review. I've been thinking about this conversation for weeks now, right? Because people need to get prepare for this kind of conversation. I think it's important. A lot of people they don't do that, and they come conversation. They say, "Oh, the conversation takes a different turn," and they are not ready for that. I know what I want to do. I know what I want to ask. I know what I want to hear, and I know where to go depending on how he answers. Right? I'm preparing myself for that. Right? And some people they will not prepare. They don't understand how important that is. Oh well, yeah, it's the same. Every year we need to do that. Oh crap. No, maybe that's the most important conversation you have with your manager. It's important for you to be in touch with him, we can talk, but maybe that's the one that's the most important. That's where you're gonna say, hey, I like to do this project, I didn't like that. That's what I wanted to do next. I'm gonna say, hey, look, I want to be promoted within 3 years. That's the position I want, and I want you to help me to prepare. What do I need to get there? What I'm lacking? What I need to improve? What I'm doing wrong? What I'm doing right? Right? So this is the kind of conversation that you need to be doing. Because if I don't know what I want, how can how can I blame my manager for not knowing either? Right? That's not fair. So this is what everyone needs to be doing, thinking about their path, their journey, where they want to go next, and prepare for what's next.
How did you make the decision to become a director? How did you get this clarity of thinking, okay, that's where I want to get. I want to become a director.
Well, I want to be way more though.
Okay, for now.
Yeah.
For now. But then,
no,
we can talk about your ambitions as well. But
yeah.
we can talk for
No,
the director.
I look at my company ladder, how it works, right? So we have associates, VP. That's very interesting. That's one of the first things when I moved to the US. VP, banks use this VP, vice president. And I thought that vice president was a top role. But here in the banks are not that. After you are associate, you are a VP in the bank. You have a VP, then you have a VP can be like entry level, medium, senior. At least most financial work like this. Then after senior, principal, then director, senior director, then is managing director, and then sometimes and C-level. So the big butts over there. A few years ago, the bank they didn't have a technical career path, right? So they only have a manager. Today they have both of them. So I have the opportunity to, when I look forward, I said, okay, I can go to technical and I can be to the manager because I didn't want to leave my technical expertise at all and be 100% manager. Once they open that path, I say, okay, now I have a path to grow in my career and I know what I want to do. Because after the principal level where I was, that was the natural thing. Once they opened that position that said, hey, you can be managing people and you can be technical, you can be hands-on. I said, that's what I want next because I don't want to lose everything that I learned. I don't think it's fair for me to give up everything that I learned and start from zero to being a manager. Right? Because being a manager, you need a different set of things. I think the qualities as well to be a good manager. And I think everyone knows how hard it is. You should be a good manager, good leader. So I said, look, I want to grow in this company. That's my next position is the director. I know what needs to be done. I like what needs to be done. How can I prepare for that? So I became a director 2 or 3 years ago. I'm at the bank for 5. Yeah. So I think it was on my 3rd year of the bank. Yeah. So 2 years ago. So then I said to my manager, said, look, I want to be a director. I said to him, that's what I want. I need you to help me to get promoted. And that's how it went. Now I'm a director and I'm going to have a conversation with my manager and say, hey, what's next for me? How can I get there? I know I'm not there yet. Right? And that's perfectly fine. But that's what I want, and I'm gonna prepare myself to be there. So
Amazing.
yeah,
Yeah, that's another mistake developers make because they don't work with their managers to grow.
yeah,
And, you know, one of the jobs of a manager is to help people in their teams to grow,
yeah,
right? So it's a good strategy. It's essential, actually. It's crucial to be transparent with your manager and say, hey, I want to grow to that position. What do I lack? What do I need to do to get
yeah,
there?
yeah. And it's sometimes it's not something technical. You can be reading everything. Sometimes it's not something technical. Sometimes it's something different that you need to improve. Your communication skills, your relationship skills. There are many different things that can be worked. But again, if you're not vocal about what you want, you're gonna get what someone decides for you. Right? You need to be clear. It's not fair to say let your manager uh, it's not fair to expect your manager to know what you want to do next. That's not how it works. He's not your father, your mother, right? He's your manager, and you need to be vocal. You need to be transparent, and so you can get where you want to get.
That brings me another crucial lesson, which is that we are responsible for our careers. It's not our managers.
Yeah. Yes. True. Much true. But again, we are responsible for our career, but you're not, at least not in a company. It's going to be very hard for you to grow in a company if you don't have the support of your manager. Right? You can choose to switch to a different role, to switch to a different company, maybe talk to your manager's manager, but understand that it's going to be a harder path, right? That the person who, at the end of the year, who has the chance to promote you is your manager. It's not anyone else, not another team. Right? So it's important for you to build this relationship and be clear about your expectations and your goals.
Exactly. And what is your ambition?
Mine, keep growing. I think every now and then I make a reflection and I put myself, okay, am I learning? And am I improving? Am I getting closer to my goals? If I'm not, something's wrong that I need to revisit. Something's wrong, and I need to understand where did I fail and fix it. I want to keep growing. I'm a director. I want to be a senior director. I want to be a managing director. I want to be a C something in the bank. I want to keep growing. Some I, I have ambition. I'm not afraid to fail. Not afraid to work. So I'll keep growing.
Amazing. I think that's a very good goal to keep growing and to have this mindset, right? Because successful people, we know that you have to fail so much
Oh yeah,
and be
yeah,
persistent.
yeah. Sometimes people are afraid to make mistakes because they think that's going to define them. It's not a mis. Everyone that succeeded fail probably more than any other person have ever failed because people are afraid to fail, so they don't learn from that. You need to, and I tell my team make mistakes, and I let them they make mistakes, fail, because you're gonna learn more failing than I telling you not to do it. Okay, right? So fail, make mistakes, understand why you fail. That's gonna help your career. But again, it's not about how many times you fail, it's how many times you stood up.
Yeah. So another question regarding this subject of clarity, because that's, I know this is a crucial step. This is a step from my mentorship, by the way, to get clarity.
Okay.
And I know this is so important. At the same time, it's difficult. It's
Mhm.
not so easy to have clear view of what is your next career step. Do you use any strategy to acquire this level of clarity that you know exactly, okay, I'm going there. It's clear to me, clear path.
Look, what I like to do is to observe. Okay, observe the people that inspires you. Okay? And I said, why they inspires you is because of how much they know about a subject. It's about how they treat other people, how they communicate. Right? So if something inspires you, there's a high probability that's something that you would like to do on a position that you like to do next. Right? So say, I love coding and I see someone that's so amazing. Say, okay, that's I want to have the impact that this person has. Right? How can I go there? And then you start to build a building a plan. Or you say, look, don't want to be that technical, but I have this manager. He was so amazing. Like every time you talk to him, you feel better, you feel motivated to work. The team is always delivering, the team is always happy. Hey, I want to have this impact on the life of people. What do I need to do next? What qualities do I need to develop? So I think it's important to understand who are the people that inspires you, so that can have an impact on and give you more clarity on what to do next and what maybe would also make you happier with your decision, right? Because hey, I like that person, I like what he does. Well, maybe if I'm there, I would be happy as well. That would be something that I would like to do.
I really like this approach because it's simple and it works. Basically, do what your heroes do.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think taking guess is just it's too hard. And again, so you don't need to reinvent the wheel. If you already see someone that did this path and works for you as well, repeat it.
Exactly. Sometimes we complicate so much things, and in reality, things are not that complicated.
True.
What books do you recommend for Java developers?
Books. I have a bunch of books here. I have a few books that I like that are the most traditional ones. Like I say, like the Effective Java, right, from Joshua Block, the Head First Java, probably one of the first books that I read. The Head First Java and just the Head First Design Patterns as well. I think really good books. Clean Code it's another one. I have the certification books from Gene that I think that's really interesting as well. There's one book that I was the technical reviewer from Gene Boyarsky and Victor Grazi. So the name is Real World Java. I think it's probably is gonna be released now. In February, I think in the beginning of the year now it's gonna be released. So that says, hey, okay, I learned the language. What do I need to learn next? Right? So the book talks about frameworks, blogging, I know CI/CD, talk about different things that you as a Java developer, you need to learn to do it. It's not just the language, right? So you need to learn. So look kind of few examples that I have. Gene has all the certification books from
Awesome.
Gene. Right?
Awesome.
What else do I have that is interesting here? Oh, that's not Java. Also for Burial, the Jug, Flutter book, a very good start.
Interesting. Flutter is amazing.
Yeah. Head First.
Head first.
That's tremendous book. So those are the books. And I have another one here for my friend Bruno, right?
Developer Career Master Plan. Very good.
Yeah, right. So he wrote with Heather. There's a lot of my stories here as well, but they tell there's a lot of things, a lot of devices for your career as well in this book. So these are few of the ones that I would recommend.
Yeah, my story is there as well.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, those are excellent books. Thanks for recommending them and showing them to the audience. And I think, well, we talked about so many important career lessons, like the lessons that really take your career to a next level. I don't know if you're going to have another one, but if you have any other career lessons, what would be those career lessons that you can give to Java developers?
I think something in my career that I didn't had and I didn't understand was the importance of a mentor. The importance of a mentor. I thought that was bullshit. It's not. It's a person it's really interesting on helping you succeed. So that can be a friend of yours, can be someone you met on internet, whatever it is that can be extremely valuable because that person has more experience than you and probably can help you to avoid some problems that you're gonna face in your career and give you the shortcut so you can grow faster. I would like to have someone who told me that it was okay to make mistakes, right? I don't know, maybe do a bug code, whatever it was, but someone that said that's okay. That's something that it will happen. That's unavoidable. That will happen, and that's okay to make mistakes as long as you're learning from them and you're improving. And I also would like to have to a little earlier the power of the network. Okay, that building this network of relationship is probably one of the most, if not the most important thing that you're going to have in your career. You may think today that is your Python knowledge, your Java knowledge. Sorry, no, it's not. I think there was a study here done some time ago that said that 94% of all the job positions here, Java technology, they were filled by referral.
Wow.
Okay, so if you think you're very good, if you're not referred by someone, sorry, you're not even part of the process. Okay, so understand that's not just about your technical expertise, because honestly, when a person look at the resume, he has no idea if you're good or not. We say, oh yeah, that looks good, but I have someone that Rafa referred to me, and I know Rafa, so why would I go to a resume that I don't know anything about? So to understand that those things are very important in your career.
That's why it's important to be nice to everyone,
Yep.
to treat people well, to treat everyone. Like, it doesn't matter the title, it doesn't matter the position.
Yeah.
Like, be respectful, treat people nicely. Don't be toxic. Don't be arrogant. Help people whenever possible because, it's good for you, for your personal growth. And it's also good for your professional network because really nobody likes an arrogant person. Nobody likes someone who complains a lot or someone who is toxic, someone who, attack people from nothing. So that's a very important lesson. Like, to create a strong network, have to be nice. Like,
there is a saying, it's something like this: as people may not remember your name, but they will always remember how you made them feel. That was important. Right?
yeah. Thank you so much, Rodrigo. You shared so many crucial lessons. Those lessons define if a developer will be successful in their careers or not.
Yep. Thank you. My pleasure talking to you.
Yes. Thank you so much for everything we discussed here.
Hopefully we'll see you face to face next time.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
All right.
Thank you so much, Rodrigo.
Thank you. Bye-bye.